The Crysta patch is releasing today, and with it, many changes to not only characters, but the entire game itself. So we're going to go over these changes today, and I'm going to let you guys know my thoughts and how it's going to shake up the meta. Before we start, keep in mind that this is translated from the Korean version of the patch notes. This means the wording is going to be a little bit clunky, but the English version hasn't been released yet, so we work with what we got. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, this is the Korean Supervive team. Are you enjoying Season 0 Arc 1? We prepared a lot for this patch, including a Hunter Crysta, which we briefly mentioned in the last 2/6 patch spoiler, changes to the gold system, and Discord integration. Before we get into the details of the full patch, we'd like to briefly talk about the importance of strategy choices and the direction for improving the game's intuitiveness, which the Supervive team is carefully looking into. During the OBT, many players gave us feedback saying, I don't know where to start. And to improve the system, we introduced a quest system and automatic resurrection system. As a result, there were certainly some positive changes, but at the same time, we found that the auto-resurrection system lowered the tension of early engagements and made the process of deciding on the next objective after completing a quest vague. Accordingly, we decided it was important to maximize the combat elements of Supervive and further increase the importance of strategic judgment. And we prepared a patch to provide an environment where players can intuitively understand how can I win and make meaningful choices in the process. Simply put, the goal of this improvement is to create a clearer structure that makes it easier to understand the flow of the game and the situations players are in. And the first step towards dramatically increasing the value of gold. So it sounds like they're going to be increasing gold even more after this patch, which I actually ended up playtesting this patch, and gold is worth a lot. Basically, every single system in the game is now going to be relying on gold, like we'll see in a little bit. Along with these changes, we're also preparing a campfire talk to discuss the current status and future direction of Supervive. That's good because, I mean, if you've been over to any single stream or Discord or the Twitch or whatever, it seems like there's nothing but doom and gloom everywhere. Maybe some worries can be quelled with that. We made party tier difference limit. Last season in patch 0, we changed the matchmaking for ranked games to take into account both players' tier and MMR. As a result, we have confirmed that players of similar skill levels are matched more frequently than before. However, in an environment where Grandmaster and Bronze players can party up and play ranked games, it is difficult to create fair matchmaking. So going one step further here to ensure that you're matched up with players of similar skill in ranked games, we are now relimiting parties matching once the tier difference between the pre-made party members exceeds a certain range. In regular games, you can freely queue up and play with friends regardless of the tier. Below are the rank ranges you can play when forming a party. Pre-made party matching available from bottom to bronze. Pre-configured party matching from diamond to gold. Pre-configured party matching available from master to platinum. Wait, does this mean you're not able to queue up with someone if you're above the rank of GM? Wait, if this means what I think it means, this is actually insane. It reads like they removed 4-stacking from GM players. So if you're GM or Legend, you can't 4-stack anymore, which is one of the best changes they could have made for the game right now. As it stands, Legend players are playing in groups of 2 to 3, and they're just absolutely mowing over lobbies every single game. And so forcing these Legend players and GM players to play on their own not only makes solo queue a better environment, but from my POV, because I like to play competitive, it actually makes it so way we get to have more fun in the game by queuing up solo. Assuming this reads as it actually says on here, which is kind of finicky because once again, Korean patch notes, this is actually a really good change and one of the changes I'm actually pushing for personally. So I really like this. This is a great start. Discord social integration. We often tell players Supervive is the most fun when played with friends. Agreed. So here we go. You can now link your Supervive account to your Discord account. Now more convenient, faster, and more fun. Linking your Discord account will give you access to the following features. Friends registered to your Discord account will automatically be updated to your Supervive friends list. You can send party invites to your Discord friends who can accept them on Discord or in-game. Accounts that have linked Supervive in Discord can send and receive Discord friend requests. You can chat with your Discord friends in-game, and those messages will be visible on both Supervive and Discord. Supervive does not have access to your personal Discord DM history. It simply sends messages to Discord. You can check your friends' match progress on Discord and also see that they can join your party. Kind of somewhat addresses one of the issues with Supervive, and that is you can't even really interact with anyone inside of the game. You can't like right-click on someone and start whispering them inside a game, right? You have to do everything through third-party apps, or you have to invite them and then wait for them to come into your lobby and then talk to them there, right? So having it actually access through Discord somewhat fixes that, but I think it's really weird that a game doesn't have access to features like this inside of the game itself. Though having Discord integration like this is a good thing. I do think they need to update the game as well so you can talk to your friends inside of the game. Gold system changes, another thing that we're here for. I actually got to playtest these, so these will be interesting to see what they changed and what they kept. One of the key pieces of feedback we heard from players of all skill levels, especially new players, is that the flow of the early game is so fluid that it can be hard to gauge, am I playing it right? And is this really the best move I can make? I agree with that, basically 100%. And I say this as an insanely high elo player. I have no idea whether or not the play I'm making is correct. And while that can be true in League too, even though we're challenger in that game, there are times where I'm not going to be able to identify the correct play, right? It feels like a majority of the time when I'm playing Supervive, it is hard to determine the actual value of whatever I'm going for, be it maybe going for powers in a shop or looking for kills or going to hit a UAV or whatever, right? There's just too many decisions that have too much variance behind. And that's one of the bigger issues with the game right now. For those of you who are playing Supervive, settling in with new players is a really important task for the Supervive team. To improve this, we made the first adjustment in the patch by removing the day/night level cap, which was difficult for new players to understand. In this patch, we will simplify the various growth figures that exist in the game, increasing the importance of gold, and improve the game flow to make it easier and more intuitive to understand by focusing on 2 growth figures, level and gold. Basically, everything they're saying whenever these patches come out ends up sounding really nice, but the execution is what matters the most. So let's see what they've changed about it, because I had some mixed feelings about that. If you guys saw my reaction to the playtest back when we were playing it, I think that video is actually up on my YouTube. Let's see. Gear can now only be upgraded at shops and base camps by paying gold. Most minions do not drop items other than gold, except for the occasional vibe drinks drop from screamers and assault riders. Biome treasure chests always contain gold. You can now purchase items at the base camp. That right there, that was the biggest thing I hated. Having to buy at your base camp was one of the worst features of the entire playtest. It made the thing too snowbally. And I feel like when we're playtesting this today, after the patch ends up coming out, this is going to be the feature of the game that I like the least. Crafting vibe drinks at base camps has been replaced with purchasing/upgrading items. And crafting vibe drinks is disabled. Vibe beans no longer drop. So basically, you just buy the actual brews themselves inside of the shop. So the beans don't even have like a purpose anymore. You just get the straight up 400 pods, which is good. Remote shop is disabled. You know that global shop that you had before? You get rid of that, which I think was really bad for new players, because if you were watching a lot of my games, especially lower elo players, don't interact with the system. So they just have a bunch of gold that is not getting any value from that, and then they get run over by older players because they don't have access to powers that the veterans do. So remote shopping disabled, especially because it's like so unintuitive, is good. Gold score is added to the UI. Gold points are the sum of the gold you have earned and the gold you have spent. You can check it at the top right of the screen and on the scoreboard. The gold score is an indicator of roughly the power difference between your team and the enemy team. So they're trying to make it so if you spend this amount of gold, this is how powerful you are. And that can make it pretty easy to identify the entire team, but not an individual player. I need to see how this actually ends up playing out in reality. I don't feel like this is gonna like determine whether or not I end up engaging with someone. I feel like I'm just gonna glance at their stuff and say like, oh yeah, they have this, I'm going in. Or like, that guy is full decked out, full red. That guy's gonna mow over my team because he's playing Brall and he has everything in the game. I'm good. This to me doesn't mean too much though. The prices of items sold in shops and the amount of gold dropped by minions will be adjusted to fit the new system. Experience and gold rewarded for killing all boss minions except for corrupted guardians are greatly increased. Experience gain increased by approximately 2.5x. Killing a minion used to grant up the 600 gold, but now grants a flat 2,000. All nearby teammates receive the same amount of gold. So this is for like soul bosses and whatnot, right? Honestly, I thought about this during the playtest. I feel like the souls were already extremely important for you to contest, so I wasn't a fan of them doing this, as it made it so way the souls were even more powerful to get. And I felt like if you had a soul, you were in a great spot to win the game. Maybe they want to make it so if you get a soul, you're almost guaranteed to have like a top 3 finish or something like that, which can be fine. But I feel like they were already good enough. But we'll have to play with this a little bit more. Keep in mind, during the playtest, when we ended up playing, there's a large skill discrepancy, so it made it harder for me to evaluate how good or bad the changes were. The last night passes and there are no merchants on the map. A merchant will appear in a random location after a certain amount of time. Even if you don't have a captured base camp, you can still purchase upgrade equipments and consumables at other shops or merchants. So like the other shops you see in like, say, Scavenger Bay or Mana Coils or the one at the Heart, you can still buy upgrades at these instead of going to a bonfire. So shops around the map still matter. I just personally think that this makes the system too hard for you to come back into, which is why I was a huge opponent of this system. At the very least, having to go to like a specific location to buy. I really want them to adjust it, but it looks like it's going through for this patch, which does not make me happy. The color of your death box will change depending on how much gold you have. Wait, what? Wait, that's kind of sick. To increase the risk of losing an engagement, you will now lose 50% of your gold upon death. During the playtest, you actually lost all of your gold except for 400, which was enough to buy, I think, 1 potion. And that made it so if you ever died once throughout the entire game, your game was over, especially in the early game. So they still had resurgence, but they wanted to make it so gold punished, or instead of having the revive be the mechanic that punishes you by being perma-dead, you're punished by having no gold. So if you split push, you end up dying, you end up resurging, you just have nothing but the experience from that. And now that you're losing 50% of your gold, this makes it so split pushing is going to be a more viable strategy, and likely going to be the meta, as running around and farming gold is going to be extremely important. And even if you only get half of whatever you farm from a certain biome and you end up dying, that's still better than whatever you're going to get farming with your team. So probably a good change. And it makes it so if you die at any point in the game, you're not just completely bricked. So I think this is probably a better way to handle it. I think I like this. Experience adjustment. The most common piece of feedback we received regarding the leveling system adjustments was that it was taking too long to learn all the basic skills. To address this, we removed some of the EXP required to level up from 1 to 3 to the 4 to 6 range, allowing you to learn the early skills faster while maintaining the time required to acquire the ultimate skill. Bro, so what's happening right now? If you kill a single mob pack with your team, you don't even hit level 2. So this should change that to where you actually hit level 2 off a single mob pack, which is good. That being said, I feel like they should have reduced the amount of EXP required to actually hit level 7 in the early game. So we'll have to see if they end up doing that. Plus, you can now earn experience by not only killing minions, but also opening treasure chests and saves. So make strategic choices in the game. So vaults actually give you EXP now. So you have more incentive to do them. Because before, especially in solo queue, I would probably just ignore them because I would just go to a shop and buy powers there. And so vaults, unless they had something really great in them, maybe they had like a blue or yellow armor or something, I didn't even bother doing them personally. But now it'll matter a lot more because buying armors is so expensive. Or at least it was during the playtest. Once again, we'll see the exact numbers soon. Additionally, as PvE farming efficiency increased in the last patch, this patch has also increased the experience efficiency for PvP, so that winning early battles will have a greater impact on growth. All right, this is great, because if you take a level 1 fight and you end up winning it, you actually end up falling behind any other team in the game, which makes no sense. You can't be winning a fight and be the weakest team in the lobby as a result. That is just the stupidest thing I've ever had, or the stupidest system ever. If you want to flip the game level 1 and you end up taking a fight and you end up winning it, you should, in theory, at least be on par with everyone else in the lobby. Maybe you shouldn't be stronger than everyone else in the lobby, because that makes it so everyone's going to be incentivized to flip level 1, and I don't know if that's healthy for the game, but you shouldn't be behind people if you end up winning. If someone ends up griefing you and you end up turning on them, you should get a reward from that. You can now earn experience points by opening treasure chests and saves, and the amount earned increases based on your progress throughout the game. The experience required for levels 1 to 6 has been adjusted, so this is what they mentioned earlier. So it looks like in the early levels, yeah, 1 pack is going to give you level 2 now if your whole team is around it. So that's a good change. Great change. PvP experience efficiency changes. Experience gained from defeating opponents has been increased across the board. If you're below level 3, defeating an enemy will always raise your level by 1. That is good. As it stands, you're probably getting, I want to say, like 50% per kill at level 1. So if you kill someone at level 1, I don't even think you were hitting level 2, which was super messed up. Power bound, mythic grade and below. With this patch, gold will become the most important resource, and equipment upgrades that don't lose anything upon death may be prioritized, while powers may receive relatively less attention. But power is the core fun element in Supervive. To prevent the situation, we've changed the safer usage environment by reducing the burden of power loss. All powers below mythic are now bound to the player who acquired them. When resurrected after death, you will obtain the powers you previously acquired. Powers only drop when the team is wiped out. This was one of the most controversial changes of the patch, especially since it makes it so you don't get to play with as many powers from stealing it from the enemy. I feel like one of the fun parts of Supervive is being able to adapt after you kill someone and take their powers and just take their stuff, right? I like adapting to the situations that you get from stuff like this. If I kill someone and they have like different powers from like a different biome or something, I want to be able to potentially use those. And I think adapting in that moment gives you depth to the game, it gives you skill expression, and it just gives you variety. And so having powers be soulbound means that you're going to be stuck with whatever powers you have for a long time throughout the game. Personally, I don't find this fun, and I wasn't a fan of this change, but once again, well, I'll have to play test it a little bit more. I don't want to say just because it's in the game it's bad, but at the same time, intuitively it feels like this isn't what I want from Supervive. Minion counter damage / vulnerability. Counter damage is damage that is dealt to a monster when it is preparing to attack, aka when a blue circle appears under the minion by counterattacking. Vulnerable state is where the monster takes additional damage for a certain amount of time after being countered, as the importance of PvE arises. We plan to further refine fierce battles against minions. So they want PvE to be more interesting than it is right now, which PvE is pretty boring right now. I don't know if PvE is the fun appeal of Supervive though. Increases the time you can deal counter damage to minions by 1 second, so you have more time to be able to stagger stuff, which is good for new players. Now, when a minion's health drops below a certain level, it becomes vulnerable. Counter damage reduced from 60% to 25% health, but there will be more opportunities to inflict vulnerability. So they want you to constantly spam abilities in order to stagger the mobs, but they made it so the stagger itself actually does less. As it stands right now, if you stagger a mob twice, they're dead, which I thought was an okay system, but it basically invalidates even interacting with the mob. This makes it so you actually somewhat interact with the mob. I'll have to see how this ends up playing out. Intuitively, I don't like this change either, but I don't even think this was on the playtest. I felt like I was killing mobs really fast. Increased speed of pod descent. Increase the descent pod across the board. With the advent of the gold rush, we've adjusted the game to allow team players to spread out and farm gold faster. The speed of individual drop pods has been greatly increased, and the time it takes to separate from the team drop pod has been reduced, allowing them to reach further locations. Team drop pod speed increased by 50%, and then personal drop pod increased by 200. Time to detach from team drop pod reduced from 1 second to 0.5. So this actually does two things. One, it increases split push meta a lot. So they want you to move around at the start of the game and go to like different places and go farm up, which is great. I think it's great because it'll put you in situations where you end up 1v1ing someone in the early game, especially since they made PvP a better resource for you in the early games. So I like that aspect of it. You have the opportunity to outplay people in a 1v1 scenario in the early games. And then 2, it also makes it indirectly. So if someone ends up dropping in a bad spot, like 5 people end up dropping on top of each other or whatever, you have the ability to move out away from that situation and not get griefed in the early game and go try to farm somewhere else that's open. I think I would like these changes. They were bugged during the playtest, so I didn't actually get to, or you kind of got to test them, but it was kind of wonky. Hunter. Basic attack upgrade. To provide more options for skill point investment into the early mid game, the basic attack left click will also be upgradable. All hunters cannot upgrade their basic attack left click. When upgrading, damage increases by 10% depending on the hunter, or damage increases by 20% relative to attack power. I heard some mixed things about this, but me personally, when I tested this was actually a great change. I think this is a great change. This is a great change. Do you know why? I think characters who are invested in their basic attacks, such as Shrike or Myth or whatever, should feel powerful for investing in their left click, but at the same time, they end up losing out on something from this, right? So they do have powerful basic attacks, which they did have before, but now their skills aren't going to be as impactful. So maybe they're going to have a longer cooldown on their shift because of this. Maybe their skills are just going to do less damage in the case of Arrow Rain, right? Because I'm only going to have 1 level in Arrow Rain now until about level 8. I think this is a great change. I like this for the game personally. I think it's going to be easier to balance from here too, because you can always tweak the actual basic attack upgrade itself. And it makes it so LMB based characters aren't just like insanely oppressive, especially in the early games. Hunter mobility and balance. We totally agree it's fun to control hunters who can move very quickly, but we need to avoid situations where everyone has to be a pro gamer level reaction speed, or only hunters who have good mobility are forced. Yeah, that's basically happening in high elo right now. It's Jin, Oath, Brall. If you want to climb, you play one of those. Jin, Oath, Brawl, shift. That's it. You just lock in one of those and you run around the map like an idiot. Totally agree it's fun to control hunters who can move quickly. And I thought a situation where everyone just uses their skills and then fights often become chaotic. And I thought that it needed to be improved. Rather than just randomly using skills, we will change that so you can read your opponent's movements and fight more strategic ally. Oh, and I should have mentioned the additional move skill frames for Otsu and Brall. Otsu, I'm assuming, is Oath. The nimble running of ultra fast hunters is cool, but it ultimately runs a risk of leading to mobility inflation. Mobility creep. Yep, League of Legends is also familiar with that, where other characters need to have a similar speed and mobility to be competitive. I already mentioned it. Solo queue is basically lock in Jin, Brawl, or Oath, or you're not gonna have fun. Or Shiv. Or go get double glider jets. Or you can't play the game. There are many cases where people die without even being able to counterattack after being hit with preemptive skills that is impossible to deal with, so we like to adjust the balance to impose restrictions in order to achieve overall balance. The mobility balance changes are as follows, and you can check out the hunter-specific balance patch items below for more details. For Joule, to make it harder to reset spark combos, lightning orbs have been changed to spawn after a slight delay. So if you get hit by a right click, they can't instantly go for the orb, which I don't personally think this is too much of a problem actually. But actually, if anything, I almost think this is a bait, because if you dodge the first hit, you use your shift to dodge the first one going through the orb, you actually end up getting hit by the second shift that gets reset from going to the orb. R, the landing point is now visible and the cast time has been increased. That's kind of cool, so they give you more reactability to the R. I thought they ended up nerfing her Q as well. We'll see if that's in the later patch notes, as this is only mobility changes. Kingpin, dash shift. The basic attack hit rate reset effect of level 4 dash has been lowered, making it difficult to instantly subdue an opponent with a skill combo. So what's happening before is Kingpin would primal slam, auto, shift, auto, and that would one tap basically everyone in the game. Or honestly, you don't even have to land primal slam as you're running away. You just jump, auto, shift, auto as you're running backwards, and you do 80% of someone's HP instantly. So this is trying to make it so if you do that, you're not going to be doing as much damage, and you're reliant on your ult to actually get kills off of primal slam, which is better for Kingpin, but I still think Kingpin is kind of garbage balance design. Brawl, face steel chain. It's called pay steel apparently in Korean. The tension that pulls you forward to the target has been reduced. Cooldown has been increased. Reduce the cooldown refunded when hitting an enemy with a level 4 upgrade. When you faint, the chains are automatically released. Skills cannot be used while immobilized. So I wonder if this applies to PvE too, because you can like hit something or like a wall or something and the chain will just stay there. Oath shield, for example. So maybe as you hit Oath shield, it won't just stay there now. We'll have to see. But I mean, Brawl nerfs are always welcome in my book. I don't mind. Kingpin and Brawl. Powerful strike, right click, and primal slam Q. To prevent players from dashing immediately after casting a specific skill, thus canceling out the skill's casting animation, the aiming range while dashing has been reduced. Otsu and Brawl. To adjust the phenomenon of forward acceleration being maintained while using the glider immediately after casting a dash skill, short delay has been used or added immediately after using a movement skill. So Oath had a bunny hop mechanic in the game, which was insanely overpowered. You're the fastest character in the game. And I tested that on the playtest. and it's completely gone. Oath is just a normal character now in terms of movement. He gets double spin dash if you end up hitting his shield, but he's not going to be running around the map as fast, so it's not going to be as oppressive. This is actually a pretty big nerf to Oath if they don't end up touching him in the rest of the patch, so I wouldn't be too surprised. Bishop rocket jump, skill casting time increased, move speed has also been reduced. So it's easier to dodge Bishop's ult now. When you hear her cast it, like the heads up or whatever, I forget, or charging in, or whatever she says after her ult, you're going to be able to dodge it more easily, which is probably good. I think the reason why Bishop ult is so hard to dodge has nothing to do with that, in order to do with the verticality of the character, as the hitbox of the ult is insanely misleading. I actually don't mind how fast it is. I care more about the hitbox being misleading. So I wish they would find a way to update it. Oh my god, Crysta's hot. Wait, what? All right, Crysta's coming out. I'm going to be playing her basically all day, and this doesn't really teach us too much about Crysta, so I'm probably going to just skip forward through these. Not really much to say. If you guys want to watch me playing Crysta, you guys should check me out immediately after the patch launches. I'm going to be playing her literally all day. We're going to see how fun she is. She looks pretty good. All right, Bishop. We've received a lot of feedback that Bishop's skills are a bit monotonous, so we buffed his skills across the board and changed them to make them more effective in a variety of situations. Also, the ultimate technique has been adjusted to better suit the purpose of using the ultimate first and thinking about it, rather than running away from the opponent with 36 strategies. Base. Today, we're going to use the high-powered rocket puncher. How about trying it out as a Bishop? I feel like this is a joke that didn't translate well into English. Rocket launcher left click. Damage of enhanced basic attacks increased by 20% and the explosion radius increased by 10. Okay, not really much to say there. Explosive thruster, right click, level 4 upgrade, cooldown reduced by 5 seconds, explosion radius increased, the distance the hunter is pushed back when hit also increased. They're trying to make it more of a kite tool and allow her to play more longer range if she maxes her satchel. Okay. Level 4 upgrade, a rocket punch. When you hit, you gain a maximum health shield that can stack twice, and the cooldown is reduced by 1 second for each target hit. Probably never taken. I guess that makes her a bit more tanky if she wants to be more of a frontliner. Kind of interesting that Bishop's upgrades give her different ways of playing the game. Like, she can play different modes. Like, this one makes her more tanky and trying to play more of the rocket punch, and this one tries to make her more kite heavy. And old skill cast time increased from 0.3 to 0.5 seconds, and move speed reduced by 250, which they already mentioned above, but they give us the exact numbers here. Overall, probably boosts for Bishop. Brall is still making a strong presence all over the map. Maybe feel a bit cramped change from the super fast maneuverable Brall past the current Brall, but the unrestricted maneuverability was a problem that made it difficult to adjust the balance, so adjustment was necessary. And a little bit of background on the changes of the powerful Shrike. The skill may feel heavier and slower, but the aiming is now a lot easier. Now you'll be more satisfied when you get your skills right, and you'll be able to respond more easily when facing Brall. Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. Fuck this character. Added a movement skill frame to adjust the phenomenon where forward acceleration would be maintained when using blazing dash or powerful strike, and then immediately deploying the glider. Short delay has been added, so you can no longer enter the glider state immediately after casting the skill. Wait, you can't do right click into glider? Wow. You can't do shift glider either. Wait, they gutted his mobility. I don't even think this was in the playtest. That's insane. What? Wait, Brall, this is insane nerfs. And that's not even talking about the damage yet. Past effects have been tweaked, making it more noticeable, and Brall has been adjusted to look sharper. So just visual changes so you can more easily tell he has his fighting spirit. Powerful strike, right click. You can now freely aim your powerful striking skills. So as it stands, when you right click, there's a bit of a movement restriction where if you move left or right with it, it can only move like a certain distance. I think it's a little bit less than 90 degrees, but this is completely removed now. You can just like spin in a circle basically anytime you press it. The skill casting UI for a short click and long press has been differentiated. The skill casting time has been increased from 0.35 to 0.55. So now you have an easier time reacting to the actual right click press itself. A warning icon will appear above Brall's head when casting a skill. The phenomenon where skill hits judgment does not match Brall's motion and warning sign has been improved. Sword execution. The trigger criteria for execution or sword's effect has been adjusted from targets with less than 45% health to targets with less than 35% health. So with less than 35% health, this basically means that if you get the right click off, then they die instantly. But I mean, that's 10% less health you have to worry about in terms of getting executed, so that's kind of nice. Damage to targets below a certain health level has been reduced from 2.0 to 1.5. All right, scratch that. You're only dying if you're at 20% now. Wait, they're actually gutting Brall so hard. They lowered his mobility, they lowered his right click damage, which is going to be all of his main damage now. They made it easier to react to, they made it harder to hit. Flame shift got a 1 second increase on the cooldown. When using flame shift after powerful strike, the angle at which you can aim the dash is limited. In other words, when using a dash skill to cancel the attack skill animation, it'll become more difficult to land the attack. Basically, when you press right click and then you shift, which is a combo you see very often on Brall, you just can't adjust the right click anymore. It's stuck in that location, so it makes more counterplay for the person going against the Brall, which is great. Phase deal chain, move speed towards the target location, while chain has been reduced by 250, so the same as Bishop on her ultimate. Will then increased from 14.5 to 10 seconds to 18 to 12. I believe you max chain seconds. This hurts Brall so much. Level 4 cooldown upgrade has been reduced from 50 to 33. And Brawls weren't even taking this and they nerfed it. Now when Brall becomes unconscious, the chains are automatically released. Skills cannot be used while immobilized. Alright, people have said this throughout the last 3 patches. Is Brall actually removed from the game? Dude, Brall might actually be removed from the game. What the hell are these changes? I'm not even a Brall player and I'm looking at these changes. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Maybe in like 2 months from now, the Brall mains will adjust and they'll make the character look even crazier, but this sounds like this character is completely gone. Unviable tier. Many of you watching this are saying good, but I think personally, Brall is kind of a cool character. I don't like him being as powerful as he is right now because he's by far the best character in the game, but at the same time, I'd like it if he was in the meta, and this makes it look like he's not even going to be playable. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. Ghost. The lack of Ghost mobility has been slightly improved. Now we look forward to seeing it become a faster combat weapon. Shift level 4 upgrade. After you dash, you will be granted a move speed buff for 2 seconds. This is pretty cool. I ended up playtesting with this actually, and Ghost actually felt very nice with the changes. And I mean, my favorite character is Ghost, so it should be pretty fun to play with him post-patch. Though I'll be playing mainly Crysta after the patch, so I won't get to test this until probably the second day. We'll see. We're nerfing Kingpin's skill combos that were overly powerful. We already talked about this earlier, but the basic attack reset on his shift max has been reduced from 100 to 50, which means you can't just go auto shift, auto shift, auto shift, or auto shift, auto shift, auto. That one. Basically, this makes it so Kingpin has a much harder time kiting other characters as he's going to wait to attack them before he can use his shift again, giving him more counterplay windows if he wants to attack you. Honestly, I think they should have probably nerfed Kingpin harder. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like this character is really messed up, especially in Battle Royale. Jin. When Jin is attached to an enemy, he deals too much damage with his basic attack, and the ultimate was being used too often, so it needed to be adjusted. While maintaining Jin's identity as an assassin, the assassination Q skill has been changed to be used more reliably. So his basic attack damage is down by 20%, which actually makes it so his execution damage is even lower because you won't be getting as low from his initial combo, which is great going against him. And then his actual delete button, aka flip slash, let's see, add a red hitbox indicator to make it more clearly indicate skill hits range. That's great. Death blow base damage increased from 58 to 90 to 81 to 126. The skill coefficient has been increased from 45 to 60. Damage multiplier has been decreased from 100 to 400 to 100 to 300 based on 0 to 80% missing HP. When your health is above 60, it deals more damage than before. When your health is below 60, it deals reduced damage by approximately 5%. Overall, this doesn't look like too big of nerfs. Oh, and then his clone cooldown is increased by 5. Yeah, overall, it doesn't look like too big of nerfs. Jin is just insanely overpowered, especially in a solo queue environment. In team fighting, obviously, he's not the best character, but he's still perfectly functional. And for a character that can move around the map like a speed demon that can literally one-tap you, by the way. There was a game I was playing against a Jin, and I had red armor, and I was full HP, and I spent 20 seconds punishing this guy. He messed up literally everything. He R&B, auto-E'd me. That's it. I'm on red armor, by the way. Full HP, level 14. This guy one-taps. Okay. If you think this character didn't need a nerf, you're either a Jin main or an idiot. Take your pick. Joule. In the past, you could quickly cast lightning throw skill and then easily reset it using spark. With this change, Joule now needs to take a break. It is a bit of a shame to add this restriction to Joule, who boasts lightning quick speed. The super fast skill chain that leaves no time to react can have a negative impact on intuitive gameplay and balance between hunters, so we decided to adjust this time. Lightning orbs now spawn after a 0.5 second delay, so this is trying to nerf the right click shift combo. That's the combo that they're trying to get rid of, which is surprising because it didn't feel like that combo was that great. Skill explosion range reduced from 200 to 160. I actually like that a lot because the lollipop on this thing is absolutely insane. So making it so the lollipop isn't just like the biggest, most forgiving hitbox you've ever seen in your life, perfect. Skill task cast time increased from 0.15 to 0.3, and then landing point now displayed. Osu is a tough yet fast-moving hunter. We're adjusting the mobility in this patch as it's showing too much power. Although you may not be able to fly as well as you used to, the sturdy Osu is still strong. True. We adjust the phenomena where forward acceleration would be maintained during whirlwind charge and basic attack, and then immediately deploying the glider. A short delay has been added so you can no longer enter the glider state after casting the skill. Basically what this means is Oath's mobility is down, but that wasn't the only problem with the Oath. Oath's biggest problem is the fact that he is literally just an assassin who can have the most utility in the game. This kid is absolutely bonkers. You can go in, one-tap someone, leave. You can go in, one-tap someone, keep going in. You can play a range. You can heal your teammates. You have utility. You have a parry on a 3-second cooldown. Those are the things that needed to get nerfed. Nerfing his mobility is great because he did need it. He's currently a top 2, if not top 1 character in the game. I'd argue that he's better than Brall is currently, but this character only receiving the mobility nerfs. If there were more Earth players in the world, if you guys had to deal with me on Oath 24/7 like you do with every single Brall player, if Oath didn't actually take a while for for you to learn in order to like deploy properly and just stomp the lobby, you guys would be complaining about Oath as much as you do Brawl. This character is so messed up. You just get one shot. There's basically no counterplay. This character is beyond messed up. A tank should never be one-shotting you like this guy. This guy can 100 to 0 a full tank Felix. I've done that, but full tank Felix, 100 to 0. This thing needs damage nerfs yesterday, and the fact that they didn't address it here is criminal. Shrike, bug fixes. Fix an issue where the skill would intermittently be cancelled when attempting to perform a bunny hop skill after using the shift skill. I don't know what that means. Basic attack left click. The firing interval has been reduced from 1.7 to 1.5, increasing the rate of fire. You can now make minions vulnerable with Mark of the Eagle passive. That's probably a good thing for Shrike. I mean, that is a good thing. That should be in the game already. Every scout. Now when you remove each scout, they become vulnerable and immobile. Each scout's health has been doubled and a health bar has been added. I don't feel like the ward needed a health increase, as it already takes half a clip from Ghost to kill, and I think it takes 2 shots from Myth, which I think is fine for a ward. It's on par with the other wards, so I don't know why they would ever buff this. This doesn't make sense to me. And then right click, the bird bomb usability has been improved. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's less clunky now. I mean, I think Shrike is a toxic character who just shouldn't exist. Getting 2-shot by this girl is beyond fucked up. I think Shrike is just an abomination of a character. If Shrike is ever viable, this game is complete trash. Sorry to every Shrike main. That's just reality. Void basic attack left click. Damage no longer increases based on time spent not attacking, and it is differentiated between fully charged and normal states. Pause firing for a moment. The sphere will charge. Cool. Overall, pretty good balance changes. The biggest question mark is the fact that Oath's damage wasn't nerfed. Not sure what's going on with that. Also, personally, I think Shield Bash's cooldown should be nerfed. I don't think it should be a 3.5 second cooldown or whatever it is now. That's just completely unethical. It's an iframe, bro. An iframe on a 3.5 second cooldown. Think about those words. Think about you are playing League of Legends right now and you have an iframe on a 3.5 second cooldown. That character would be gutted yesterday. Consumables, new items have arrived in the shop. The price of some items has been adjusted, so please use them a lot. And here's some fun news. You can now buy one item in the shop. Grab a chance at being a hero for just 3,000 gold. This is actually 5,000 during the playtest, so interesting that they changed that. Basecamp store sales. This is what I was interested in. So Hypervive is 1,000 gold. That is way too expensive. I don't know why it would ever be that expensive. It is one of the most trash items in the game. Jump pad is now 3,000 gold. That's good. Jump pad needed a nerf. Honestly, I want to see more nerfs to jump pad. I think that item is way too OP. Resurrection Beacon is 8,000 gold. Okay. And then Basecamp Installation Beacon is 5,000 gold. So you can actually just buy beacons at a shop. Okay. So this was not in the playtest. At least I don't think it was. But that actually sounds really good. I actually like that. The fact that you can buy a base at a shop now instead of having to take one in the early game. I love that. I actually love that. That might fix a lot of the issues with the bonfire. All right. I'll definitely have to test this patch, and obviously I'll be streaming it live, but that makes you a little bit more hopeful for the changes. And they added potions. So these are like league potions where they just give you like a little bit of stats. I don't remember the exact stats, but they're just temporary stat buffs. Were they 90 seconds or 3 minutes? I don't remember. And you can buy most wanted for 3,000 gold, Ultravive for 5,000 gold. I don't know what this is. This wasn't in the playtest. I don't think so. No comment on that. We'll have to see what that is when it goes live. Improve secret grenade. If you're tired of being attacked by enemies hiding in bushes, try this. No change to be picked up from the ground. Throwing range increased by 500. I don't think I've ever seen these EMP grenades. I don't even know where they are. Are these even coded in the game yet? They said they were going to add them last patch, and I just haven't seen one. Not sure what's going on with that. Powers. Eye of the Abyssal Monster. Players with this power can now detect stealth units. I love that. However, you can only see hidden units within the field of view you have it aimed. But Eyes of the Abyssal Monster. Is this X-ray goggles? Is it Bubba's? It might be Bubba's. All right, I don't know what this is. I thought this was Abyssal Eye, which doesn't make sense because you just press the eye. Oh, is this you press the Abyssal Eye, and then during the duration of it, whenever the UAV is active, if you see there's a stealth person in your area, you can just see them? That's kind of sick. I mean, I hate stealth, so anything that guts it. Fuck stealth. Flashstone and cooldown increased from 12.5 to 20. Blinkstone is the most overpowered exotic in the game right now because they've nerfed everything else, so yeah, this needed a nerf too. Honestly, it should just be a 30-second cooldown. You should only be able to use it once a fight. 20 seconds is still too little. But hey, better than nothing. This sophisticated defense shield. Damage reduction duration increased from 0.5 to 1 second. Damage reduction rate reduced from 50 to 30. I don't know what this is. But the map. So Site 38 has been adjusted, and then Ion Acres has also been adjusted. This is Ion Acres right now. Wait, this place looks kind of sick, but way too many bushes. They added an extra biome over by Chaos Steps. I tried going over here during the playtest, but the entire place was just blocks. It wasn't fully coded out yet. Didn't really get to see what it was like, but a lot of square walls. Makes it a Go 7. Clients added practice mode movement UI. Added a UI that allows players to move practice mode without canceling the match while waiting for squad in the matching lobby. I was literally asking for this. This is great. Custom games. You can now disable the day 1 resurrection rule via settings. They said they added that last patch, but I guess they're finally actually implementing it now. That's great. Tutorial. Here's some of the content that did not match with the update specifications. Okay. Tutorial in this game probably just needs a complete overhaul, but they're probably going to wait until the entire game is completely fleshed out before they start working on that. Better communication. Additional ping updates. The ping wheel now has new pings for fights, gather, and request supports with new icon. That's kind of cool. I like increased ping functionality, especially when you're playing with people who don't want to be voice chat and you're trying to try hard and like ranked or something. Great change. Love to see it. Added friendly camera function. You can now use hotkeys to improve your viewpoint. You now use hotkeys to move your viewpoint to the location of players on your same team. Wait, wow. This is such a huge buff. You can actually look at your teammates' screens. Wait, this is so good. I love this. I love this. That's a great change. I don't even know why it wasn't in the game in the first place, but the fact that they're adding it now, great. Skill voice adjustment with the addition of several voice prompts to support pings and other team communication features, the overall voice output frequency has been increased somewhat, resulting in a decrease of the frequency of skills voices overall. Don't really care about that. Granting legend tier custom game privileges. For our top players who enjoy Supervives and want to compete fiercely at the top of the leaderboard, we have decided to extend the custom game privilege payment schedule. We check the list of players of the legend tier at the time specified below and then grant them custom game rights so you can try and challenge yourself in ranked matches with the goal of reaching the legend tier. Custom game formation requirements. Players who reach the legend tier. So basically, if you get legend, there's going to be certain times where they screenshot the legend leaderboard, and when you hit it, you get custom game access. So it gives you a little bit more of an incentive to grind if you want custom game access. This is mainly going to be for TOs who honestly probably aren't going to be hitting legend on their own, as they generally don't have the time to actually play the game and they're going to be organizing stuff and whatnot. And they, in my experience, play more casually. So this is, I'm not sure who this is for, or I personally have custom game access, so I don't really care too much, but I don't even use it that much. And I'm probably one of the ones who uses it more than 99.9% of people have it. I mean, it's something, and obviously we need custom game access, but at the same time, I don't think this is going to change anyone's motivation to play ranked. Controller support. Controller support is currently under development, and only some of the features are currently implemented in game. It's still early in development, but want to give you a sneak peek. Your feedback is always helpful, so leave your thought. Xbox controller used on this. They're going to be releasing the game on console, is what this tells me. Supervive is live mid-2025. No kappa. Console saves every game. Don't forget it. I mean, overall, this is actually a really good patch. I'm a pretty big fan. The biggest issues I have are no oath nerf. No oath nerfs is actually criminal. And the bonfire system, aka buying a bonfire, seemed pretty bad, though they do give you the ability to buy bonfires at shops and whatnot now. That's nice. That wasn't available in the playtest. I'll have to play with that. Obviously, we're going to be playing all day with that, so I'll get to test it and give more concrete thoughts. I only got to spend 1 hour with it. Those are just thoughts after 1 hour, which obviously we know can change in a heartbeat. If you want to see me playing Crysta or even the patch in general live, make sure to check me out at twitch.tv/Rhinne. Subscribe for more content, and until next time, take care.